Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 2310A, and today's date is October 23rd, 2020, and the title of the episode is Central Bank Running Out of Time, Next Phase Ready to Implement, Think Gold. Let's talk about staying healthy. I know how important collagen is for the body. 70-90% of your skin, joint, tendons, and bones are made up of collagen. Your gut depends on it. Even your hair and nails contain collagen. I also know that after 20 years old, collagen production decreases by about 10% every decade. And if you want to look healthy and younger, you could take Ageless Multi-Collagen. You can just add 1 scoop to it with whatever you're drinking, coffee, protein shake, and in less than a month, you'll experience younger looking skin, more vibrance, and more energy. Ageless Multi-Collagen works by providing powerful nutritional support that promotes skin, hair, nails, joints, bone, teeth, and gut health. There's also none of those nasty ingredients like GMOs, fillers, or artificial ingredients, and it's tasteless, odorless, and mixes smoothly. Get Ageless Multi-Collagen for 51% off plus free shipping by going to healthwithx22.com or click the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we know for a very long time the deep state, the central bank, the corrupt politicians, they were planning to move this system into a completely new system. Many people call it the reset. And we've been getting indicators that they're preparing to do this. Remember, a couple days ago, the IMF came out and they talked about a new Brenton Woods and how this would benefit the people. Why would they talk about a new Bretton Woods if their system is working perfectly? There's a reason for it. Then we had central banks working together, discussing digital dollars, moving the system into digital currency. Now, I'm not talking about cryptocurrency. I'm not talking about Bitcoin. I'm talking about a central bank-controlled digital currency. Now, remember, this was their plan from the beginning. They're going ahead with it. And like I said, when all these people are rounded up and all these people are sitting in front of a judge in their trials or whatever else happens to them, the biggest battle is going to be the central bank establishment. This is the root of the entire problem here. This is the invisible enemy. This is what Trump has been talking about. Yes, there are other players, but when you go up through the pyramid to the top, you have these individuals who do not want to give up control. Yes, the others down below, they're all foot soldiers. And they're going to fight as hard as they possibly can. And what they're doing right now is they're making their next move. Now, this doesn't mean the Patriots don't know about this. Of course they do. It doesn't mean the Patriots don't have a plan. Of course they do. It's almost like when we're approaching the election, a lot of people thought, wow, we're going to have mail-in voting. The corrupt politicians are going to win, and they're going to manipulate it and create chaos. But today, you can see something happening that's very, very different. That whole plan doesn't seem to be working out for them. The same thing is going to happen with the central bank. This is why Q, back in many, many posts, has told us about a structure change. This is why Q has been talking about gold and how it's going to destroy the Fed. There's a reason for that. It wasn't just said just to be said. It was said on purpose. Now, this is what the central banks want to do. And remember, there are good people in the Federal Reserve and there are bad guys in the Federal Reserve. Just like within government in all different countries, there are good guys and bad guys. The bad guys we call the deep state. The bad guys we call the private Western central bankers, the corrupt politicians who are pushing their agenda to benefit themselves. So the Fed, they are signaling right now that we're looking at digital dollars. And I'm talking about the bad guys in the Federal Reserve. Remember, it's not just the Federal Reserve. It's the ECB, it's the IMF, and it goes up to the Biz, and it goes up to the Rothschilds. So they're running out of time. Their system cannot last much longer. So the Fed, they're looking to send out digital dollars directly to each American. Now, think about this for a second. Think about helicopter money. Think about what they're trying to do. And I do believe what they're trying to do is they're trying to create inflation. This is why the Fed came out and talked about how we have to look at inflation completely differently. Because what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to inflate away the hundreds of trillions in federal debt. And the debt tsunami that is coming would mean the end of the American way of life as we know it. And to do that, the Fed is now finalizing the next steps of a process that revolutionizes the entire fiat monetary system. Now, remember, back in the 70s, we went to the Brenton Woods dollar. It was backed by gold. In the 70s, which was Brenton Woods 2.0, they took us off the dollar peg and they went complete fiat. Now their fiat system is coming to an end. So now they want to go from their paper currency just to complete digital dollars. And what would this do? This would remove commercial banks as financial intermediaries. It would allow the Fed to direct deposit into Americans' digital wallets. They would have full control, and they would have all the power. Now, this is the central bank's dream. This is what they've been planning on for a very long time. They wanted to do this. And when the Fed was talking about it, and it's not just the Fed, the IMF is talking about it, the ECB is talking about it, all the central banks are talking about it because they're all working together. This has been their plan from the beginning. What they've been saying, and of course they have a cover story to make you think that this is something that's going to be fantastic for everyone, is that there's going to be faster and cheaper transactions. They're going to address the decline in the use of physical currency. They're going to modernize the payment infrastructure. They're going to reach consumers who have been traditionally underserved by financial institutions. And they're going to push universal basic income. This is their plan. This is what they want to do. Just like the deep state wants to win the election. Just like the deep state pushed the pandemic, pushed the riots. Remember, they're continuing with their plan. And the only way to show the people is to allow them to continue their plan. Because why interfere with an enemy while they're in the process of destroying themselves? And this is exactly what's happening right now. There's a reason why Q, back in the post, said there's going to be a structure change, and they've already started, and that gold is going to destroy the Fed. Let's talk about protecting yourself. Detectives have replaced the medals a Marine vet lost in a burglary in Virginia. Arrests for burglary were made, but the original medals were never recovered. The 84-year-old Vietnam vet was floored at the lengths the detectives went through to replace the medals. We should do everything we can to prevent burglaries like this from happening in the first place, which is why I have solar stair lights on my properties. These ultra-bright lights are great not only for lighting up my house to deter burglars, but they're great for being able to see my steps when I'm going up and down them at night. Best of all, they're completely solar-powered. Along with my steps, you can put them on fences, you can put them on docks and railings. If you want to get your own solar stair lights for 65% off, please visit solarstairlight.com or click the link below. The Patriots, they want the people to see their ultimate plan. Yes, it's going to sound fantastic. Yes, it's going to seem incredible. But people are going to see that, well, wait a minute. I don't have the freedoms I once had. Wait a minute. There's one entity that controls everything? Is that what we really want? I mean, look what's happening today with the social media platforms, where we have an entity where they're combining forces and they're censoring individuals. The same thing is going to happen with the central bank. Remember, they want everything centralized. And this is why they're pushing, because what is happening right now is that the central bank economy, the global economy, is falling apart rapidly. They know they can't save it. They know it's a complete and utter disaster in Europe, in Asia. The supply chains have been broken up. Trump has been bringing back manufacturing and rebuilding America. They can't let this go on too much longer. When he wins the election, this is when they're going to start ramping up everything that they want to do. Just like as we approach these elections, what has the deep state done? The corrupt politicians, the mainstream media, they ramped up the pandemic, the riots, and the election chaos, I do believe, and censorship. And I do believe this is going to happen because remember, they don't want to lose their control, their power. So the Fed, right now, they're still pushing their agenda. Yes, there's good guys and bad guys in the Fed. And they're going to still push their agenda, just like there are good guys and bad guys in the U.S. government. Certain individuals are going to push a certain agenda. The bad guys have to find them and remove them. The same thing is happening with the Federal Reserve. But they're not going to stop. So you're going to see this continue on, and you're going to see this happen most likely out in Europe and other places. Will Trump allow this to happen? Yes, I think he will allow this to happen to a certain point. Because you must show the people. You must show the people the crisis. You must show the people what they're trying to do. This is why he didn't stop the riots. This is why he didn't stop everything that we're seeing today, because he wanted the people to feel what it would be like to live under this type of an environment. The same thing with the Federal Reserve. Trump understands that people are going to experience something they've never experienced before. And they're going to see how this all plays out. And they're going to say, well, wait a minute. I don't want this one central bank system controlling everything that we do. Now, the banks are not decentralized. Yes, I know they're still hooked together and stuff like that. But people have the idea that, oh, if I go to this bank, it's better. If I go to that bank, it's better. Now, remove all those banks. What do you have? You just have one corporation controlling everything, where they're directly depositing money into your account. Now, can they stop that? Of course. Think about everything else they want to do. Why do you think gold has been moving up? Why do you think Trump has been building the base here in the United States as fast as possible? He's going to use this to remove ourselves from the central bank system. And how can he do this? Well, is the central bank going to create a crisis? How are they going to explain away we're getting rid of paper dollars? They're just going to announce it one day? Will the people say, yeah, that's a good thing? Or will they push a different agenda? And will Trump play upon this, where the crisis during this period of time, he can say, okay, we don't need to be with the central bank anymore. They're not managing the economy the way we thought they were going to manage it, and we need to break away, and we need to go back to something that stabilizes the economy. And I do believe he's going to play it out in somehow, some way in this fashion. But we can see it coming already. Actually, Bank of America is already out there, and they're telling everyone what the Fed is about to do, what the ECB, what the IMF, and you can see how this is all now starting to come together. Because the IMF was announcing Brenton Woods 3.0. You can see the central bankers around the world moving towards digital currency because this is their only way out. They're running out of time. It was never supposed to be this way. We were supposed to be in some type of war where they can explain all this away. Now they're completely open. They're exposed to all of this. And yes, they're going to try to make a case. They're going to make a case of why we need to do this now. Just like they made the case back in the 70s, where we needed to go from a gold standard because there were, gold speculators in the market, and we needed to go to a full fiat system. But they told us it was going to be temporary. This is what Nixon said. This is only temporary until we can iron things out here. Well, temporary went from 1971 to today. That's not temporary. That's permanent. And they're going to do the same exact thing. Of course, they wanted a war to explain this away. So we can see this happening. They're accelerating their plans. They're moving forward with it. And this is going to be a huge battle coming up because the central bankers, they have no allegiance to a country, to a group, to a people. Their allegiance is to debt, to control. And this is the root of all evil. But the Patriots, they know the playbook. They knew this was happening. They knew they needed some time to rebuild the United States. And this is what Trump has been doing, removing the central bank, their regulations. Yes, it all comes from the central bank because you corrupt those people in government, you give them marching orders, you pay them off, and they move ahead with creating whatever you want, especially when the country's in debt. And we can see that Trump is now undoing everything. He's ending the Middle East wars, which means it's the end of the petrodollar. This is why they're reacting so quickly. It's the end of everything that they had in place. And they don't have this major event where they can just explain it away. Yes, they'll try to use the pandemic. They'll try to use that. But remember what Trump has been doing here in this country. He's been building the economy. He's been building the foundation of the country. This was done on purpose. And he understands that it was just a matter of time. This is why he didn't come in and say, hey, by the way, everything is fake. The stock market, the unemployment numbers, these are manipulated. No, he knew that this would be a complete and utter disaster. Actually, this is what the central bank and the corrupt politicians wanted. They wanted a disaster. He was trying to make the road a lot less bumpier as we move over to a new system. And this is why he's been working so hard and using everything that we see to start to build that foundation. Even the pandemic, he's using it all. Actually, he has powers that he's never had before. And that's going to benefit him moving forward. So get ready, get set, because the next phase of all of this is coming. And you're going to see a lot of things happen with the central bank system. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.